Hey everybody, Kenny here. So before we get going, I decided to record a little disclaimer just so I don't waste anybody's time. The Path of Exile videos that I post on my channel are not meant for people who play at the highest levels of skill. This is for people who are relatively new to the game and are looking for ideas for how to progress through the game. So these will mostly be kind of builds that are good for people leveling through Acts 1 through 5. And this league, I'll be changing things up a little bit and also doing some builds that would be good for builds that would go from Act 6 through the end of the game. But just a couple of each of those. That's all I'm doing this league. And also, I don't use Path of Building. That's not a part of my process. I might post a link in the description with an unlisted video showing what my actual process is for creating builds for anyone who's interested in how I do that. Other than that, I don't want to keep any of you here who aren't interested in that kind of content here any longer than you need to be. So you're stopping by, and those of you who are still here, let's get going. And with that out of the way, I'd like to introduce you all to my Electrical Hemorrhage Juggernaut build. This was actually a really cool one put together. It actually ended up turning out really great. So the basic idea here was that I wanted to, I've always wanted to use the Bloodlust support gem in some way, and I've never been able to get it working in the normal ways of proccing bleed. I don't have the mental capacity to to consider, okay, let me use a skill that use a regular attack skill that causes bleeding, then use a different attack skill to capitalize on the bleed. For normal mob clearing situations. I could think of it when I would be fighting a unique or a rare mob or something, but if it was just pack of enemies, the whole trying to balance that whole thing out thing, I could never get it working right for the way I play. But for this league, I thought, oh, what if the source of my bleed isn't the skill that's actually designed to cause bleeding, but is actually the skill that is designed to deal damage without you having to think about whether or not you're using it to cause bleeding. And that's where Static Strike came in. So Static Strike, you deal your attack damage as physical and lightning, and since it is a physical attack skill, you can support it with chance to bleed, which then allows the arcing bolts to then also be able to cause bleeding on enemies around you. And since we're also supporting it with chain, the charged aura is just consistently like kind of branching out and causing the bleed to be proccing on additional enemies. And then we're also using overcharge since it is a lightning skill, so that even though our static strike itself deals less damage, it is causing the benefit of when enemies are afflicted with shock, it is a far more significant shock that is being applied to the enemy, so that our double strike is getting the most benefit of attacking an enemy that is both bleeding and shocked, so that we get just the most damage possible out of the skill. And then we're supporting our double strike with Ruthless, which makes it that every third attack is a Ruthless strike, dealing tremendously more damage. Volatility, so our bottom and top are raised and lowered significantly, which I felt is like a nice, it's one of the new skill gems. I felt this is like kind of a nice, like thematic support gem to use for this build, since, you know, the whole idea is that we're kind of using lightning as our main thing without lightning damage being the main source of damage. So I thought that, you know, this just fit the theme really nice to use volatility. And then of course Bloodlust, so that we deal more damage against enemies that are bleeding. And of course, you know, double strike itself deals additional damage against enemies that are bleeding. So it's great synergy all around between these two. Like I have this, I happen to luck out and find this 5-link sword. So I'm also supporting it with increased duration. And so instead of the usual like 3-second aura, we're getting like a 5 to 6 second aura, somewhere in that range. I also have Vengeance in here, you know, so that we deal some retaliatory damage occasionally. But, you know, we're not really supporting this in any way. It's just there as an extra source of damage because I had to open some available slots. Like pretty much all of our damage is just coming from our two main skills. Although we are also using the decoy totem upgrade with Flamewood support and greater multiple projectiles that I was using with the first build that I recommended this league, just because I really liked that combo. I thought that worked out really well. And for this particular character that isn't, like, this build isn't particularly tanky, so having, you know, just having a decoy totem to take some heat off of us, you know, like I felt was a kind of a necessary thing for this character. And, you know, like, and since we have like this great Flamewood combo now, that I could just, it was a no-brainer to just kind of slot this in. In terms of our passive build, our main sources of damage come from the Born to Fight notable passive, the sword cluster here, where we get some damage and attack speed, and very important for our build, damage along with a flat amount of accuracy with swords, which is really important for us. And a bunch of additional strength in this cluster here, which has many benefits for this particular build. Then down here, we got the Tribal Fury cluster. So we have increased melee damage, increased melee strike range, and of course, Tribal Fury, which makes it that our strike skills deal splash damage. And then we took the Attack Mastery to make it that monsters cannot block our attacks. We have Master of the Arena for the increased melee physical damage and melee strike range, was the increased strength, and the Art of the Gladiator for the increased attack speed. Global accuracy rating ignores the movement penalty from armor and gives us some extra dexterity. And I got both the accuracy cluster here, which gets us accuracy and crit chance, as well as giving us a flat amount of accuracy in the notable. And then the accuracy mastery that gives us the 500 flat accuracy that gets reduced by 2 for every level. And then over here, we got the accuracy cluster that gets us accuracy along with elemental resistances, as well as the notable that gets us a flat amount of accuracy, and the accuracy mastery that gets us additional accuracy equal to our intelligence rating. And the reason for the huge investment in accuracy is because we have gone the undeniable route for our Juggernaut. So we have the increased armor and attack speed, as well as making it that we have a very large amount of accuracy rating from the passive itself, while also gaining accuracy equal to twice our strength. So essentially strength acts the same way as dexterity does, because every point in dexterity gets you 2 points of accuracy. So this is just makes it that strength is equivalent to dexterity when it comes to increasing your accuracy. And then we gain 1% increased attack speed per 150 accuracy rating. We have a massive amount of accuracy. So, and this, mind you, we have 7,972 accuracy rating, but that's in town. So in town, we have 792. Out on the field, it would be significantly higher because we would have the buff from our summon golems, which is the ice golem, which grants us additional crit chance and 24% increased accuracy, and our precision aura, which gives us additional 40% crit chance as well as 444 flat accuracy rating. So it's massively higher when we're out on the field. You can see here in town, our main hand attack speed modifier is 94%. We're getting a significant bonus to our attack speed. For utility, we are using Dash as our escaping skill, Enduring Cry for an additional heal every now and then, and Clarity to keep our mana topped up. Passive-wise, the only things we really got that we could really call utility skills were Master of the Arena for the increased regen, and Art of Gladiator for the armor movement penalty removal. That's really the only utility we're getting out of our passive build. And defensively, we grabbed all the life from the Marauder area. Well, life and armor from the Marauder area. We went through the resistances route. We get a nice amount of elemental resistances here. Grab the armor cluster right here that gets us some armor and a bit of life. And then the bravery notable, which gets us some evasion and armor, as well as life. And so with our gems and passive build out of the way, let me show the gear we have going here. As I mentioned, I happened to find a 5-link two-handed sword. This could have rolled better, but it's a pretty good sword for us. It's a full physical. It has an implicit 60% bonus to global accuracy. It has a little bit of flat accuracy on it. And it gives us a chance to poison on hit, which means that our static strike, static bolts, I guess, the little arcing lightning that comes off of you, like that is causing bleed, shock, and poison. I mean, obviously we're not invested in poison, but it doesn't hurt to have. For our rings, we get a good amount of resistances from each, as well as some bonuses to our attack damage and accuracy, as well as some stats from each. Our amulet gets us some regen, some more accuracy, evasion, a little bit of life, and some lightning resist. On our chest, we have an armor evasion chest that also gives us some nice flat life and a nice amount of fire and lightning resistance. Our gloves get us some extra dexterity, some increased attack speed, and some lightning damage to our attacks. On our boots, we have increased movement speed, some cold resist, some regen, and then our belt is a strength belt with a little bit of regen and flat life. So overall, nothing crazy here. I don't remember if I went over the helmet. So the helmet is just an armor helmet that has some regen and some fire resist. Yeah, so nothing crazy in terms of gear, but we are doing okay in terms of our defenses. So we're a little undercapped on our elemental resistances. We have a little bit of life regen, a 26% evasion chance, and a 62% physical damage reduction rating. So we're doing pretty good defensively. Not great, but we're doing okay. But as I mentioned, this isn't a character that was designed for designed to be particularly tanky. So it's mostly about being able to attack really fast and kill everything, like whatever we're fighting, as fast as possible, just to make up for the lack of defenses in the build. Yep, but that is the build. It is a really cool one. I definitely recommend trying it out. As I say in my disclaimer at the start of these videos, some of my builds are for the first half of the game, some of my builds for the second half of the game. This is a build that's definitely really good for leveling up through the first half of the game. Since obviously I only played up till Act 6 as I do every league. I don't know how this character is going to do going further than this, but I guess some recommendations for what to work on in order to make it a bit more viable, and definitely work on getting some more life. Head up this way, maybe grab some of the attack speed and defenses from here. Maybe head over for the, for this grouping here, get some extra life, regen, and then elemental resistances, armor and evasion from there. the bloodless cluster here for making it the enemies can't leech from you. Might be a good one to go for. I definitely aim for grabbing more stats, because the more stats you have, the more accuracy rating you have, which is the faster that you are, because this is entirely built around getting our attack speed as high as possible by stacking all of our stats. The accuracy mastery here, like I picked the bottom one because like the eventual goal for this is that once the drop off is high enough, so at this point we're level 51, so we're losing 102 flat accuracy off of that. So 398 flat accuracy is still pretty good. So like I recommend keeping definitely grabbing this as like the first accuracy mastery if you decide to go this route. But once you if you do get this build higher than this, then I do recommend switching from the bottom mastery there over to the dexterity one. That changes the dexterity accuracy bonus from 2 to 3. Since depending on how high you get your dexterity, it may outclass that, whatever. But let's say you were at 75, you get this character up to level 75. You may end up having, over 300, more than 350 dexterity. And if that ends up being the case, then, the dexterity one will end up giving you more flat accuracy than the 500 accuracy rating one. Something to consider if you decide to go the stat pumping route, because I definitely see that as being like a really great way to scale this character, just like focusing on getting your intelligence, strength, and dexterity as high as possible, because that gets you all kinds of benefits, like defensive benefits and offensive benefits. Yep, but that is going to be the build. As this will conclude my coverage for the league. Thanks to anyone who has been stopping by to check these out. If you enjoyed the tips I included in my build videos and appreciate doing my YouTube stuff, like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, Be Victus, Via Zulumaris, and bye.